That will be. I got an agenda stuff for you. How are you, sir?
I'm all right.
Here you go.
Fantastic today, taking everybody everywhere.
Oh,
Taxi man.
Yeah.
okay.
Not free though. Oh, well, like,
Commissioner,
Ladies, gentlemen,
I got a whole pack of it. So I pulled the stipend you asked me
Are
about.
you a Uber driver?
Both of, well, the orders, I'm sorry.
You let
So
the
that's
seat
the one I was asking
No,
you twice.
no.
That's the one, the
Oh,
first
no.
one.
Being nice.
Here
Yeah.
it is. That's the one that Tony saw.
both of them did one.
Yeah.
Right here to go.
Remember, Mr. Woody, he cut y'all down to like nothing,
Man,
really.
do it just like
Yeah,
that.
he has.
You gotta go. Go.
But I just,
But
yeah.
I'm,
What you looking for?
well, where's the interim financial director? Is she,
I don't even know if that's her title.
it is, it's on the document. I'm looking at.
Really?
She said
So
she
you looking about
was gonna
1099 something?
She said she was gonna give me that information.
Okay, I didn't get it. She didn't give it to me.
Talking about the stipend, how much they need.
Unless she gave it to Mr. Benton.
Maybe she gave me this.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Cause I left a message for her, we talked
Hey,
about
Mr.
it.
Duncan? Yeah,
We talked about it.
Mr. Duncan, we can start the meeting now.
Y'all
Hey.
know.
See, I ain't saying
No,
nothing.
Get up.
I'll wait. He tried to make that seat. That's y'all waiting on you. I think they go. Become friends.
Oh, they already free.
Tell you that.
Did Mrs. Fields bring you any kind of paperwork
You get this?
for what's on the agenda? I called her and asked her would she gather some information for me, and she said she would, from the finance department. Oh, about the, stipends, our stipends.
She's got the information.
Who is she? Oh, Lisa, okay. Mr. Duncan is here, we can start the meeting. Get that gavel one more time, Reverend.
Yeah. Your own Personnel and Finance Committee meeting is in order. First thing we have to make reports to the manager. We get some kind of
Metric report the police chief at the end of the week.
oh, okay. Could we get I don't know, how we update, how we go month to month, year to year, some kind of, where we stand, some kind of, like good. I think Rhonda sent out a hard copy to all the commissioners at one time.
Okay, you talking about financial?
Yeah, financially.
Okay,
report, yeah, like
okay.
that. Where we stand from year to year to year.
Yeah, here it is, right here. Thank
Give us some information.
you. Okay, Rhonda, yeah, because there's a little bit of confusion about your cash situation, right?
Okay.
The general fund has spent $758,000 to date in road projects, which is
See that number again?
$758,000 on road projects, which is below the amount received to date in income tax revenue. Number two, major and local road revenue from the state is 1 month behind. So there's a lag in the revenue versus the expenditure.
Okay.
CDBG revenue from HUD for CDBG expenditures to date has not been drawn. Utility services, number 4, utility services has expenditures that are high in the first few months of the year because of the debt payments that are paid in September and amount to $265,000. there's a capital spending that has not been drawn yet for the FDCVT. And there are expenditures related to F and V.
Where is
F and
that?
V, FD, that's the financial distress cities and villages.
Okay.
We received funding for that?
I know you thought I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know. I just laughed because I didn't know. Would you repeat that one, sir?
Which one?
Through the chair, please.
The last one? As a matter of fact, I'll give you a copy of,
You gonna send all this?
Okay.
yeah, that's a copy. Yeah.
We're gonna
Make sure you all have copies. How you doing?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, she's making copies and I'll give those to you. Okay? Where's my police chief? Go ahead.
I had a question, from the library, the library was asking me about, we didn't ask, but we talked about it at the board meeting yesterday about the pilot payment.
Which page?
The pilot payment for the library.
Oh, okay.
You know anything about that? They've been waiting on it since.
Okay, well, wow, yeah. We're waiting for that. I don't know, I found this document. I'll just give it to you just in case you can't find it. It might be helpful or something. But I did want you to have. I'll let the copy over there.
August the 19th.
I'm throwing away papers, it's the end of the year.
You know anything about the pilot, the library board?
No, I don't know anything about it, but I'll get that, and get that information to you.
Okay, thank you.
How long have you been waiting to that?
Match that right there with those other dates that you have. Find it very
Since
interesting.
July?
I think this was, she was
Okay.
That's for you later. Sorry. I'll send you one.
I'll get that information. And, he was supposed, he was gonna be here though to talk about it.
Oh. Oh,
Here he comes.
do you remember this?
Thank you.
How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
The notice to make? No. I know, it's just a draft.
So we're gonna have copies of it.
Oh, okay. Still got a lot more to go.
Yeah, no, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
I just asked him about payment for the library. Yeah, okay. We can move on, we gotta wait.
So she comes in on personnel update, but can we go to,
Order, point of order. Thank you.
can we go to number 4?
Illegal dumping cleanup budget update. Yes, I want to talk about that. We, I know from May to October, we had over $121,000 that we had paid out. So I know it's gotta be more now. Can you give me some information?
Okay. I'm gonna let the chief give you some history on that.
Thank you. Chief McGinnis.
Greetings, Mr. Isom, Mr. Singleton, Brother Chair, and fellow other people. So, kind of give you some history on this. If you recall, I'll move kind of quickly, going back to March.
Right.
Is when actually Commissioner Singleton to the Public Safety Committee had raised some concerns about the dumping. I had previously received several calls from other residents, so the timing was impeccable. So in my committee monthly report for 313, We started the discussion. Legal dumping remains our city's #1 problem and the single most thing we receive complaints about from our citizens. We're working on a comprehensive plan to detect, prosecute, and deter offenders who are illegally dumping trash in the city. Remember that first month, we made 6 arrests? April, we kind of had an update. In March, we launched Operation Clean Neighborhood, which is the project against illegal dumping. Several things have transpired since the beginning of the effort. For the sake of brevity in the report, we will submit an updated separate report. So then we came around in July, which was the start of the fiscal year. If you recall, this report I actually highlighted in red. It said, the department has been working diligently to clean up the city as part of the war on illegal dumping. The city has contracted with 2 companies. Bids were done properly according to city policy in the charter. I think it's a charter. City has contracted with 2 companies to remove junk and trash that have been illegally dumped throughout the city. Those companies are Hadley & Son and Fast Act Junk Haulers. They have begun cleanup work in some of the most affected dump sites. It should be noted that we will possibly see on the front end some high cleanup expenditures. This is to be expected as the volume of dumping contamination throughout the city is massive. However, we should ultimately see those costs reduce over time with cleanup and enforcement. Please see myself or at that time city manager for any questions. So we had posted the bids, they bid on it. Then we sat down, we had a bidders meeting. Now I was learning because that's not what I do. I'm a street cop, I'm not a bid guy. We had a meeting with them, first talked about numbers. There were several weeks we negotiated because it kind of first started at $850 per load. One of the things we were looking for when we had discussed this was relieving a burden on Public Works, because Public Works is going out collecting sofas and beds and trash, and they started getting a pile of Public Works. So what we wanted to do is, instead of taking it, bringing it to Public Works, we have them take it directly to the dumping site. So with that being said, they kind of started at $850 per load. We got down to $675. So the way the process was being put in place, which it should work, and I'm not sure, but I don't no longer have them, is the same process as grass. So for example, if we get to a property, we first look at the computer, see who owns it. If it's owned by, say, Edward Isom and Associates, give you notice, Mr. Isom, got this dumping. We've all been victimized by it. We all own property it is kind of what it is. We were looking to work with people, not to fine them. As you know, code compliance is compliance, not penalty. And we should have been noticing those people and then clean it up. If not, we clean it up through our contract and then would go on the taxes via the process. If it's a property owned by the city, we just kind of ate that. So I'm not sure where that process is. So theoretically, we should have those upfront costs, but a major portion of that should be charged back to residents. Now that kind of sucks, but the mandate from our committee as public safety was clean this up, get a process in place. So that's how it came about, if you recall, commissioners, and how it should be working. Mm-hmm. So you see those expenditures on the bill list. So that is our cost. Now I'm not sure, Mr. Manager can speak more in depth to the process, but that's how that came about and why. And you do have the contract here, if you want to see it.
What is the timeline? So how far is over with now?
No, it's not over. The dumping is not over either. I don't think you want it to be over, but it should be slowing down. Now, that's the problem. Along with that, we have reinforced, hopefully, the citation part of it to capture those people who are doing the dumping. So it's not just keep on cleaning up and not doing anything else.
In addition to that, Mr. Manager, commissioners, Fast Act, we're in communication. So he says, I've been in this spot a couple of times. We go set a camera. Mm-hmm. So the whole process is we work together. I haven't actually talked to him in a minute, but that's how it's supposed to work, because actually I was following somebody today that followed me on dump, and I had to lose them. I've been in office too long, but that's how that came to be. Because the city cannot bear the burden by ourselves on this. I don't have any further stats to speak to that, but that is how it should be.
Chief, do you remember the ravine you showed me and Commissioner Singleton with all that? Is that part of the?
We didn't clean it up yet because remember when we looked at it, it just it was about starting to be the middle of spring,
Mm-hmm.
so the grass and the trees grew back.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to the point where we could even barely see them. So what we were waiting for is for the trees to die back off, and I think we're going to attack it back. The manager talked about trying to do something in October.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, there are still funds for us to get another tire trailer on the grant from last fiscal year. Additionally, we've also been awarded a grant for next year coming up too, so we're part of that. But we are waiting for the trees to die so we can get down there. We got a plan. We'll take the fire truck, use a winch, hook them up. The problem is during the summer is, as you know, they breed mosquitoes and bugs and raccoons. With EE virus and how people have really panicked, we thought for safety reasons it wasn't a good idea to pursue it at the time of the summer.
We might have to start in the spring. Winter came too fast.
Mr. Singleton.
I told you.
Mr. Director,
Yes, sir.
so Fast Act, do they wait till they're called or they just go out and just find a pile and get it?
I can give you the process. No, they are assigned by Darlene, who's running compliance now. And there's a process in place. There's a before and after. They have to take pictures of what's there. And then they have to clean it up, take pictures of what they've done. When they go to the landfill, they have to get a receipt and they bring those back and give them to her.
Yes. And also, if you recall, remember we just, in code compliance, we divided the city up in sectors by ward. So for example, Darlene might say, hey, Moses, Fast Act, I need you to be in 4.4, which is fourth ward, I think the most eastern part of that. So because there was a discussion we had in one of our meetings about knowing where people, I think it was in relation to public works,
Right.
or sectors. Code compliance operates according to sectors. So he'll know on any given day what sector they're working.
The other part of that is any contractor who does not comply does not work.
Right. Do we know how much been charged back to residents, for property owners, for, they put on taxes?
No, I don't know that. See if we can find out.
Okay. That kind of gives us an idea. I know we getting the bill, and then we'll kind of have an idea on how much actually, how much we're gonna get back, so it won't be the way it looked like we eating all of it now. Yeah.
So we do have funds for this to continue.
Yes.
Grant.
Right.
Y'all hear Grant?
For the tires.
Excuse
Sorry.
Yeah, the pickup was actually shitty in
Excuse me?
general funds. It was budgeted.
I'm tired of folks doing me like this.
What?
Yeah, the money that we are expending for that, was that already budgeted, or just, we say up to a certain amount or something?
As far as my knowledge, it was put in there specifically. Because if you recall, discussions moving up to July was when you guys were formulating the budget with Benton, Manager Watson, the money available to attack this, because again, that became public enemy number one.
Because I know we've seen, I think how much did you say? Well, I think last time you told me it was like $100-some thousand already.
Yeah, 121.
Expended.
Those that started
That's
in
a shame.
July, it didn't start in, I don't think it started in fact. I'm not sure. Though it should have started this fiscal year.
But from July.
May, I just got this last, in October, I got this It's from May to October. That's what Hadley and Son and Fast Act
Together.
it's $121,000. I'm sure it's more than that now. Yes.
Probably approaching up to 150 plus.
Yeah.
We'll get updated figures now.
So I guess once we know the
Could've been in hand.
the charge back, you know, the ones that's been, how much been put on, you know, property owners' taxes, and then that we know how much is offset to that $100 and probably near $50,000 that we've.
I'm thinking, you help me if I'm wrong, that probably most of this illegal dumping is done on sites that are not,
Private.
private. Am I correct?
Well,
They have
yeah, no, I got hit 4 or 5 times, and she has, so again, going back kind of the code compliance, when we were kind of modernizing them, getting computers, we were working towards being able to be out on the street and be able to pull up an address and say, hey, who owns this, through the Beacon, the county software for properties. Additionally, and we talked about this, and it hasn't come to fruition at the time. It was under my watch, so I accept responsibility for it. We talked about for 2 cycles of going through and marking on either the sidewalk or on the curb, city Ben Harbor properties versus land-based properties versus county properties. So people call and say, hey, you ain't Ben Harbor, what color is the marker, man? Oh, it's yellow. Oh, here is Breville Council's number. So that's something I think the manager is always, we need to get that done. So I said that to say, I'm not sure where we were in the process, because we were buying, I'm scared to say computers after Monday, but we were buying the computers for them to be efficient. What happening is they go out, write down information, go back to the office, look it up on the computer, go back out, find an address, go back. Not very efficient. So we were using, so, you know, we had got grants for ours, and I think we actually a couple of their computers under their public safety grants for getting computers and equipment. I'm not sure what that is.
So code compliance.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, if you're asking why is code compliance not in public safety, I want public safety to concentrate on the crime. That is next to, is that next or is that above the dumping?
Okay,
That's actually part of it, but whatever you say it is, sir.
All right.
Commissioner Adams.
thank you, Chair. I'd like to address something in regards to the trash. And I think that we've been battling this thing for a long time, and we finally got something going on with it, but it's costing. And I couldn't believe that while I was searching emails looking for particulars, that I found something that was dated way back in April of 15, when we did a citywide cleanup, and I was wondering why that was when we had our own street sweeper that we had repaired or had purchased or whatever. Where's it at? But the fact remains that I was asking the question, where's the front end loader that should be out here in the community, and then talking to economic development as to putting different, you know, dumpsters in different sites to try to tackle this, which would have been much more cost saving. But do we have a conversation with the township? Because another big problem was right there in the bend of Broadway. And it seems like it's been better up until just, I think, the last couple of days. I travel that way going to take care of an elderly uncle. There's a mattress. And then today, there's a flat screen. I don't know what'll be there tomorrow, but do we have a conversation with them about whose responsibility is, or the shared responsibility? And what I really want to tackle is the fact that we have EPA, I'm sure that's who they are, in the community, putting up new poles. I didn't know that this even existed, but it actually makes sense. A young lady hit me up on Facebook just yesterday or this morning and made the statement that we have cameras in our light poles. And I'm like, oh, really? So can we have a conversation with EAP and work together? Because if we're spending that type of money, we should be investing it to help us solve the crimes.
AP.
AP.
I'm into solutions.
AP.
EAP, you know who I'm talking about, them light people.
Okay.
They overcharge us.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Are you guys gonna leave
What?
grass right now?
Yeah, you, Mr. Duncan, say
Okay,
something.
I want to say something before you leave the grass situation. On the corner of Broadway and Cross,
Uh-huh.
I guess truck, car, whatever, dropped a load of grass and waste out, right out on the corner on the curb, right out in front of your house.
I'm always here.
I believe that too, because the truck I lost was carrying about 6 clear plastic bags full of leaves. And he was headed south.
There was no bags, no bags.
But what I'm saying is,
I ran out of bags.
they're getting them now and dumping probably leaves and grass clippings in our spots.
Did you say Broadway and Cross?
Broadway and Cross. Don't try to look for them. I got them up, but my point is, oh, I didn't get all of them up, so you can't get those few that I left. But I do the curb, pull everything up off the curb, move it halfway, the city line, what is that?
Street line.
The street line, and I move it off the curb, put everything in the middle. I would have picked up everything, but I filled my second trash can. I got my old trash can, so I filled it up. Now, the point is, I go through all of that, and I don't illegally dump it. I bring it out in front of my house and sit it there. And just knowing it's gonna get picked up, but they just keep leaving it. And that is more of a problem to me than you guys probably would even know. Just keep seeing that trash can sitting out in front of my house. So I'm gonna ask you guys, since we can't get dumpsters in each ward, can you guys at least make sure you pick up I got it. Yard waste, wrote on the trash can. It's one of the old trash cans, though. But I like, if you guys could help me, help all of us.
I got it.
So,
I got it.
thank you.
Always.
That's all I want to hear is you said you got it and I'm finished with it.
All you have to do is call that number, we'll get it.
But I don't want to call no
We
number.
won't let it
I wanna
happen
come
again.
here and get some answers because I'm not used to getting any answers in here. Ain't that right?
Chair, is it possible if,
Won't answer this.
Chair, is it possible if, we can have a further discussion on economic development when it comes up? I'd like to touch base on some conversations that we've been having and we need to continue to have. I'm not sure if the trash is being picked up, but we've had some discussions about bringing it back in-house, and we need to do like some of our neighboring communities when it comes to leaves, since they're the earth. I mean, they're more healthier for the earth than we know. If we can do something to use a piece of property that belongs to the city to put in place the leaves themselves.
Thank you. That's good. That's
An issue.
city manager.
We might get somewhere in that.
And what are you saying?
Go ahead.
Well,
Oh,
I
go ahead.
I can speak to that because remember,
They still blow, don't
Public Works was using Valley Drive for leaves and logs on our property because we own the whole side opposite the school district. And then the school up top kind of called and we kind of stopped that because it didn't look good, although that's our property and we were dumping leaves and brush that the city is enforcing illegal dumping, but the city is dumping themselves. So I've been to the city manager watching and told Public Works to stop dumping there, but we have a spot that we have.
They were dumping
They
more than
were
that.
dumping trash.
Oh, guys, I'm speaking to what, I got pictures.
I do too.
got them too.
But your question was, do we have a spot that we can use for those, and we do.
in terms of, what we're going to do next, I have already discussed that with, and we are looking into it.
Okay.
That's going to take some, investigation.
City manager, one thing, talked to some neighbors today, raking leaves, they was wondering, could they extend the leaf pickup in December 1st, I think? Could we extend it about a week?
Leave pickup in December 1st.
No.
Landfill rules?
Hmm.
Didn't know that. When do all the leaves leave off the tree?
God said.
Sometime in July.
We'll find out.
Yeah, Mr. Singleton. Yeah, that definitely been a problem, because you don't know, like you say, we got the leaf, some of the trees still got green leaves on them. And, there was some talk, we discussed it, I believe it was in the, Public Safety Committee, about, some recycling ideas and things. And, one of the discussions was about, there's some land out, near the airport that's contaminated land, that's nothing to ever be built there. At one time, it was a dump site, and the city owned it, so there was talk about maybe using that as, some of the yard waste and
Yeah.
leaves and stuff to take out there. They decay on contaminated land anyway, so it'll never be used. So that's something that we could probably still look at.
When they dredge, that's when they take it.
And
Yeah,
and
matter of
from
fact.
that discussion, Mr. City Manager, is when we discussed that, the possibility of the city procuring a wood chipper that can be used to chip stuff.
Mhm.
So we would hope residents would bring their stuff and chip it, and or if they needed it, use it somehow, sell it, market it, whatever.
I've talked to Public Works about that wood chip, and somebody mentioned something about the streets would.
Oh, yes. Oh, last year, if I make through the chair, last year, I think that we spent, $10,000 twice on a rented street sweeper. That's $20,000. We purchased a brand new one that I think we had a sighting of probably one time. And I think that was back during that time that I just made mention of an email I ran across when we did a citywide cleanup. April 14th, 2015. 2015, April 14th, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the last time we saw it going down Main Street.
Yeah,
Where's it at? Where's its parts?
it's broken down.
Where's its parts? Something may be good on it.
Which parts are, but I know I did inquire about it, and it is broken down. We would have to look at adding that to a budget, getting the street sweep.
That would be nice, and while we're at it, can we also think outside of the box and think long-term, since we have this, safe route to school? Well, while we still got one, or two. Cleaning the sidewalks. I noticed this thing that has like a wire thing, a little machine to clean the sidewalks where the children walk. If they ain't anybody talking about all that. We're talking about what's legally our responsibility.
Commissioner Henry. Commissioner
All
Henry.
right, I'm making jokes.
Commissioner Henry.
So, when I think of that large amount of money that we've already spent, it does not set well with me. If we use that money now, and now that our police department is looking into enforcing it a little more, but the cameras always, they will deter them from coming when we take them to court. Those 6 probably got the news out. I didn't see it in the paper. I didn't see it advertised. I would love to have seen that those 6 got blasted. So everybody would know that Benton Harbor is not playing and we're gonna send you to court.
Embarrassing.
But in the meantime, we need to figure out how to put some cameras in and then allow our public safety to do their job.
You mean
They're
somebody,
gonna dump. All they got to do is to catch you sleeping.
Yeah.
They're gonna dump because they've been doing it for 30, 40 years.
Outside of us too.
So to change a person's idea, you either pay them to change their idea or you make them pay you. And either way it goes, it changes. But I'm not liking to hear that kind of money being spent. And I don't care what they bid it on, it is getting to be way out of line to me.
Wait.
So if we don't do some preventive, they will dump again tomorrow. You go right back to the same spot and you'll find the same kind of stuff. Thank you.
Make them pay more.
Give them community service.
Yeah, and give them community.
To the mic.
What is happening about that? Are they getting community service? Are they paying large, hefty fines?
the fines are regulated by the courts.
I heard
See,
that the last
we need to
time,
fix
but I'm
that.
trying to get another answer today.
Okay.
Need to fix that too.
Thank you,
We
Mr.
need our own magistrate.
You gonna get the answer, I don't,
Fines are fines. One person was assigned community service and actually completed his time for them.
How many days was that?
One of the problems that we see recently is one of the judges who remain nameless, who likes to throw our stuff out. So,
Why you naming his name? Now call his name out.
I'm not saying Judge Roxy. So,
I call
He
his
said
name.
yeah, so so now we're going to a bigger discussion about
yeah.
lack of respect for our city.
Now go back to where I was.
Yeah, no,
So,
so do we have had people assigned community service for dumping. I don't know what the fines, I can't speak.
You don't know how much the fines were, you don't know how much community service they had to do either.
He had 25 hours.
25.
Did he do it in our community?
Yes,
That's all the time you could have given?
you know, we take what we can get.
Are these black people or these white people?
Doesn't matter.
I like,
Doesn't matter.
through the chair, I'm not talking to you, sister. Would you get an answer from me, Mr. Chair?
We'll get an answer for you.
Good vote.
I can't get them right now.
Then, that's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Like pulling teeth
All right.
in here sometimes.
Moving on.
I'll be pulling on your teeth.
Next, we're gonna have personnel update.
In the code compliance department, we have one vacancy, which is not a new position, it's just a refill position from a gentleman, Maurice Bruce. He moved to be a fire marshal that was currently in that position. So we do have one position that needs to be filled, that we already did the resumes for, and the interview process will probably start, I think it starts tomorrow. So hopefully that position will be filled within the next week or so.
Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner Henry.
I'm gonna ask her, who is the we she talking about? You have a person in your department that helps you?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a person in my department that helps me.
Were you in part of that, in that interview process?
I'm not in the interview process, but the interview process goes through me.
Okay, so you don't wanna call the name out, I'll ask in private then, thank you.
All right, move. Next, we have, city commission discussion, city commission stipends. Mr. Henry wanted this on the agenda,
Thank you,
so for
Chair.
discussion.
I'll just start to say that when we were meeting every week, And, then by vote, people changed it to 2 times a month. Now, at that time, we were meeting, every week. We got our stipend just straight out. Wasn't any taxes taken out, wasn't anything taken out. And we didn't get a 1099. So after the emergency manager started, I got a 1099, and I was questioning where it came from. So, I still don't know where the 1099 came from, to be truthful with you. I got this today, and I still can't figure out. I see the reduction of our money, so they dropped it down to $25 a meeting, and, but I don't see where the 1099, now 1099 really gives us, a lot, an extra, if you go to H&R Block, that's an extra charge for filling out another. And yeah, so I just like to know where it comes from. And then I realize also that we don't even take our own income tax money. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm not happy with the 1099. And I need to find out, we need to find out where it came from, and if we still want it like that. It might be our decision. I see something that the emergency manager, both emergency managers did, but it doesn't tell me about the 1099. How did that happen?
You can let us follow.
So, per law, if you receive anything over $600 in a year's time frame, you have to receive a 1099 form. However, I did speak with Rhonda, and she stated that I think she tried to contact you. But since commissioners, since you guys are doing meetings on a regular basis now, and you do have enough income that can get back on payroll. So, but with the 1099, we can't take city income tax out of that because it's not payroll. But once you do get on payroll, you can. But taxes will also be taken out, as well as like the city income tax or federal, state, things of that sort.
Is that something that our financial director department can handle? I know we've got a skeleton crew. But you're saying to me that we're not employees, and when we met 4 to 5 times a month at $50 a month, we made way more then than we do now. And we didn't get a 1099. So it's a new law in the state of Michigan, or what?
I can't speak to that. I'm sorry, I can't speak to that.
Well, I guess we need to
can-
find out
I
what.
I can do some research for you. All right?
Yeah.
And let you know exactly.
I like to know, and we maybe we can have this conversation again and see exactly how we want our stipend to be handled.
When I get that information, I'll send it to each of you commissioners. And you can talk about it. You're gonna have to come in the meeting.
Bring it back to your committee. Chair, thank you.
Commissioner Adams.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Henry, for actually putting this on here. And when she mentioned it to me, I didn't exactly know what she was talking about until I received one several times, several years in a row. And I'm reminded, I couldn't figure out why. Because for sure I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. But here's the deal. When I sat on the St. Joe Benton Harbor River Authority, and we were only receiving $50 per meeting in stipend, they were taken out. they were taking out and putting into what you're supposed to into the system. And I have to file that along with my joint or whatever, however me and mine choose to file. But I'm paying taxes on that money. And so if I am, then I want my points to count as well. So we need to look at that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, moving on. Discussion, city manager's position. We talked about this. You had resumes out. We just want to know how to move forward on this situation. Commissioner Henry has some ideas on how to. We talked about. You got the resumes circulating, trying to get them all back.
Well, let's ask the clerk what we have, because I've seen 7.
Mm-hmm.
How many did we have?
I don't know, you have to ask Lisa. I received copies from Commissioner Adams on Monday to make copies to distribute
Right.
to commission members, but I don't know how many were received from Lisa.
Oh.
I was not a part of the process.
I understand that. How many, Commissioner Isom or
It's
Commissioner Singleton, you had them in your possession?
10.
How many was it?
10.
10.
10.
So we have 7. Now there's 3 out,
Right.
and we don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of this, Gallivan? Did you have a scanned copy of any of it?
Yes, I have the copies that I gave to Commissioner Isom.
Could you possibly give it to the clerk so the clerk can get it out to the rest of the body?
I got one more set that I'm circulating, so I just finished, so maybe you didn't see this.
Okay.
Is it any of the 7 that she gave us yesterday?
It might be 2 all got.
Yes. Yes.
So you got a set.
She gave us all 7 of them
Yeah, they're the
yesterday.
same ones then, yeah.
Then we need the 3 that is outstanding to go to the rest of the body. And we need to come together again. I sent you a copy of what has happened in the past.
Right.
When we interviewed the city managers. And so far, we put the RFP out, we got the application in, we're gonna review them. There's a scoring and there's a process, and
Right.
it's nothing new. It's all, we've all done it before.
Mhm.
And they said we've done it 25 times, I don't know. So let's do this
Right.
and get this on your agenda for next month,
Mhm.
and then we'll have what we need to move forward.
You know, resumes back and make sure everybody look at them. And
If we
choose.
have to call a special meeting, it's all good. It's
Right.
as long as all of us get an opportunity to look at the application and then make a determination. We can ask for the top 2 or the top 3, whatever you wanna do, but then it should come back to the committee. We should have that time to vet it and then make our recommendation to the full body. We done already saw it, now we know exactly who we want. We'll take this body's recommendation high
Thank
because you did the vetting of it.
So, just for clarity, so Commissioner Isom will work with Lisa to get all the copies.
Yes.
Distribute to the commission.
Uh-uh.
No? You want me? Okay, well, me.
We have
But you'll still have to work with her to see, I don't know which resumes you have and you don't have.
We have to be
So-
stamped.
I'm
They
sorry,
have to be stamped by you.
Lisa, did you stamp them? We just need to make sure everyone gets the 10 copies,
Okay.
okay?
Right.
So we'll do that, and then you want it back on your agenda, what do you want done after each commission member gets the copies of the resumes?
Instructions?
Yeah, how to go,
You're the chair.
the next meeting will be the end of December.
Yeah, so I'm asking you, what are we doing after you get the copies?
We'll have a special meeting, we'll set a date.
Okay, And then we'll talk about the process more. Is that what we'll do?
So we proceed with this.
Okay.
But neither the right.
So we'll work, you just need to work with us to make sure she has all the copies.
Okay.
And then we'll get that out right away and we can set a date for a special meeting. That will be.
Commissioner Adams, thank you, Commissioner Henry.
Will you send some brief instructions with that about the process when you email those?
I think we're gonna discuss that at the special meeting.
Okay,
Special meeting too, yeah.
okay, good deal, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have discussion freeze on all non-essential spending and unbudgeted money without approval. Commissioner Singleton.
So we got, some information from the finance, office. One of my concerns was that, I didn't have information brought, to these meetings because we didn't have a finance director.
Right.
So it's basically like getting information, last minute, or he say, she say, something like that. So, and it's really hard to make financial decisions or voting when you don't have all the information. I think the more you know, the better decision that you can make.
Right.
And so tell that, it was my position that we would put a freeze on non-essential spending and unbudgeted spending until further notice, until we could have a good picture of where we stand. One time we hear that you got 3 million here, 4 million there, then you only got 16,000, and so it was definitely was confusing. And so that was my position on action for that to happen. So that was my position.
Send that to the full body for vote on it. Commissioner Henry.
I just
Excuse me, do it
Wait,
one
wait,
more time.
Commissioner Adams.
Do it one.
Commissioner Adams.
I actually have a question through the chair. City attorney, are we in violation? There's 5 of us here
No, it's a.
to be
I'm a
making, to be making a decision or suggestion or anything.
It's supposed to be.
I'm a citizen.
No, it's supposed to be. And we're not making any decisions.
Okay, just checking. It's always good to know. Through the chair, I don't have a problem with this, and there needs to be, if it satisfies and eases the busiest minds amongst us. As Commissioner noted earlier, the city lacked a lot of things because of the timing that expanded during the times that the meetings were dismantled from 4 and sometimes 5 a month to 2, which is every 2 weeks. Our city manager, interim city manager, always has the authority to call a special meeting if need be, until we do otherwise.
Thank you. So, Mr. Henry.
What is the understanding of non-essential and what is it? Unbudgeted. Well, I know what unbudgeted is, but if there's a big question mark about the budget for me right now, so maybe I don't know what the budget is, but I like to have an understanding of what those terms mean.
So before you answer that question, real quick, because you may be able to answer this one as well. So with the meetings, with the $1,000 limit, we meet every week. We don't have a city council meeting every week. We have a city council meeting every 2 weeks. But essentially, there's a committee meeting every week. So if anything, any emergency or anything came up, we could do a special meeting. We're holding a special meeting to do, for what? For a city manager's position? Why are we holding a special meeting for that? We have a committee meeting every week. So we could shorten that meeting and do something in one of those committees with those applications. So we're essentially having a special meeting to do this. So each week, if there was a decision to be made financially, you could have a special meeting to approve something if that's what you needed to do. So that's not an excuse. So we need to put some controls on spending, period. What that looks like, I don't care, but we need some controls on spending.
Right.
At this point. And there needs to be a dollar amount. What is non-essential meaning? Money, non-essential spending, what does that mean? Who determines what's non-essential? That doesn't make sense. Thank you.
So if you, what I determined, non-essential or essential, say if a car breaks down or a truck breaks down and you need to, it's gonna cost more than that, then we wait, till we have a meeting, or you just go ahead and do it and then hope that it get passed, or, it's whatever way the commission wants to do it to me, but that's, now, if you're looking at, buying some copy paper, and we still got copy paper, that's non-essential, but I mean, it just
Not for the person that needs it.
come out to,
Not for the
So,
person that needs it.
or, you all of a sudden gas go down to $1 a gallon and, it's only today, and you can, get some, but you can't get it because you gotta, wait for the meeting. So, I mean, it don't matter. It just, all I wanna know is that, we keep controls and better spending, especially till we definitely know, where we stand budget wise. It don't matter to me.
We had,
Thank you, sir. I heard you loud and clear.
Pro Tem Seats, we had a resolution on spending, I think it was $1,000. You want to speak on that?
Thank you, sir. Do appreciate that. Thank you for allowing me to speak, even though I'm a little bit late. I know this don't work. This is
Don't worry.
an emergency. This should be fixed. Before we put anything in any windows, any doorways, anything, this is an emergency. The citizens need might to use. It costs probably about $100. You don't need no vote for that. When you start writing personal checks, that's when you need to come to the city council. When we're talking about emergency, if a car tire go out, it don't cost no $1,000 to get car tire fixed. If the building catch fire, it shouldn't cost $1,000. Emergency is something that's an emergency, and if we call emergency meeting just to handle the budget, saying yes to that. If it's something of that magnitude, then I think we have understanding. Purpose and problem was that what we were saying was some checks were for $3,400, which was right under that $3,500 threshold. That was the reason why we said $1,000. So, I mean, we're not stopping anybody from operating in good faith with the city. But we just got, here we got a retreat that's gonna cost how many $1,000? We know? How many $1,000 a retreat cost? Anybody know?
Probably less than what's been sitting in our phone.
How much is the retreat cost? How much is it gonna cost all of us to stay in a hotel room for 2 nights? Feed all of us, get a bus to where we're going. That's what I'm talking about, good spending and good spending practices. Again, we make certain things like this personal, it's not. if it was Pete Mitchell, I would ask the same thing. When Mr. Watson was here, I asked the same thing. This is nothing new coming down the chute right now. We have to get a hold on this spending.
Chair.
So that was the purpose of the resolution. Okay? That was the purpose of the resolution. That's why I brought it forward, because we started seeing some expenditures that should have came. I mean, we should know. And even if we didn't vote on it, out of respect, we should know. So that was the purpose of the resolution. Hopefully, we'll come up with something that everybody can agree on. If not, we'll keep on moving.
All right, we bring that resolution back to the next city meeting. Yeah, Commissioner.
Chair?
Yes.
Now, this discussion was on a freeze on all non-essential spending and unbudgeted money without approval.
Mhm.
Now, that resolution to put $1,000 on it didn't pass the first time. Not gonna pass the second time because it's not reasonable to say that expenditures are not gonna go over $1,000. If we're only meeting 2 times a month to approve the budget, the spending, it's already crowded when we get it at 2 times a month. Now if we lower it down where it's way under $1,000, everything, that list is gonna be this long. And we already swamped looking at the one we got. Half of we don't even ask the question anymore.
That's not true.
We'll put it on the agenda and we'll vote.
What we putting on the agenda?
The same resolution we had,
But that's not true.
Can we do that?
But that's not
Can
true.
a resolution,
We vote
Fair.
on every amount of money that comes through there.
Hey,
Stuff that's under the
Go back and forth, meeting every Monday.
we did this with you. Hey, that's not true. We vote on every single dime that come out of this city. We vote on you have checks that I've seen for $200. Every amount of money we vote on anyway. My problem is the fast tracking the checks and the amounts of money that's going without coming through the vote. Most of those checks that was already passed through was already voted on, already passed through before we even voted on it. What do you mean? Oh, they were already gave to the person before we even voted on it. That's not right. We need to stop that practice too. So what is a fair amount to give them? To say we want to give them $1,500, $2,000, or why don't we just say $10,000? What is a fair amount that he don't have to come, or whoever's in that position? Because I'm not talking about the man in the position now. I'm talking about the city manager. Period. What is a fair amount to say that you have to come address the city commission with due respect before you fast track the check? What's a reasonable amount?
Chair, we have been fast tracking checks since I've been down here since 2006. And when I make the comment and vote no because we fast tracking the checks. That's the reason why I vote no, because we be fast checking it. Some of them we have not even had a chance to approve. But that's been going on for years. So, we've been through this before. When we went to two meetings a month. They tried to do that and it didn't work. We always had to find ways for the city manager to get with us to approve something that was over that amount. Now go back and look at the minutes, call the clerk, ask her to pull up some of them times that it happened. We just cannot forget the past. Otherwise we make the same mistakes over and over.
Solution.
So $1,000,
What's a fair amount?
I'm
35,
not going to close session for that.
35, 25.
Mr. Adams.
I just forgot that this was personnel. Can we get some, estimates as to what a forensic audit is going to cost? Going back for the last past 5
Point
years?
of order. We
For
talking
5
about
years,
one
we talking
thing
about
here.
finances.
Point of
There,
order, we're in the
Just a
middle of conversation about
We're
something.
gonna move that resolution, we'll put it back on the agenda.
Now, I'm gonna ask the,
For the $1,000 spending.
I'm gonna ask the
The
clerk.
ordinance that was
Well,
presented on November
That
fourth.
failed, yeah.
word it the way y'all got it on there now, though. How would I answer that? The way it's on y'all agenda.
Freeze.
Because, hold on, there was a motion at the last meeting on Monday that reflected 1,000, and then there was an ordinance that was presented on the 4th of November. That was in the amount of $1,000. So which one, you want the ordinance to come back? Because I can't bring a motion back. So you want the ordinance back that reduces it to $1,000?
Yes.
And I ask,
okay,
can I ask the clerk or the attorney, is it once a motion, was it a motion?
From Monday, it was a motion.
yeah.
Once a motion
Oh,
or
somebody else.
ordinance has not passed the muster with the body, can we bring it right back?
I just said I can't bring a motion back. I can bring the ordinance that was, that failed on November 4th, but I can't introduce a motion back.
But the
I mean, the body could introduce a motion. I can't bring a motion back.
okay, is
But I
it,
can bring the ordinance back.
is it legal for us to, once it fails, to bring it right
We've
back?
been bringing them back all
It has to be
years.
tabled, does it?
I'm talking to the attorney,
It's a question.
and none of y'all are attorneys. Please, sir, through the chair.
Terms.
I think the clerk answered your question. She can't bring it back, but if you or one of the commissioners, through the proper process, your policies and procedures, ask to put a resolution on the agenda, it comes back to the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So,
Mr. Chair, there's a
so,
lot of discussion that I think I would like to say something about now.
but may I please, before you do, sir? What was the EM's, limit, spending limit? Was it 35? Yes, there was one. I ran across the email earlier and I couldn't get my printer to print. And, I think that, the request was 5, but I think it was 35. Either way it goes though, if he needs something and he knows it and we right here, but let
City manager, speak on.
him speak.
It's amazing to sit here and have somebody talking about setting $1,000 limit on a company.
Okay.
Do you know, you're talking about that street sweeper, if that tire goes down, that's over $1,000. Suppose the other tire goes down, that's over $1,000, that's $2,000. So I've got to call the commission to come in and have a meeting? Come on.
Ridiculous.
You want to speak?
Yes, I just
Send it to us.
I just had a question as I'm like listening and observing and being a business, multiple business owner. Now, is the city kind of set up or designed to be ran like a business? Or is it like that? That's what I'm just curious about, because this might be the answer to some of this. Is it supposed to be ran like a business?
For the people, by the people.
Yes, you have to have a business to know that. But not totally, because a business does not have, this many partners.
Go ahead.
Being a business woman myself, I have to keep capital.
Commissioner
I think the system through the chair, I would really like to hear from this businesswoman. I mean, she's been observing and she just wanted to give her an analysis.
Wait a minute. You finished this speech?
No, she wasn't.
Come on back up.
You want
There
done?
you go.
I ain't took it down, did I?
Please finish, Alicia.
just try to see, you know, is it ran like a business? What is the model? How is it set up? Because a lot of this could probably be avoided or prevented if we look at running the city like a business. So it's just a question to kind of maybe help answer some of the crisis that's going on now.
Mayor Coach.
Thank you, Chair. Hopefully I have a full. Problem is not doing street sweeper tires. Let's quit, again, as I said on Monday night, let's quit faking the funk, man. We're not talking about no tires. We're not talking about no engine blowing up. We're not talking about no dire emergency. We're talking about the frivolous spending that we've seen on stuff that was unnecessary. We're not talking about emergencies. I don't know from the 9-body board here where we've ever voted no on an emergency. We're not talking about emergency spending. We're talking about these odd and end checks that have been written. That's the well, should we put it like this? $1,000 unless it's an emergency. Why don't we do it like that? $1,000 unless it's an emergency. That's deemed emergency. But to sit up here and say that I've had a business since I was 23 years old. I ran an organization since I was 25. Huh? You got a business, don't you? You've been running a business. Well, we're talking about sensible spending. And when you don't have it, you can't do it. And if the finance, that's why tonight would be a blessing if Plant Moran was here, or whoever's in charge of the finance. So they can tell you the same thing. We don't have it to just keep feathering it out, and you don't have it. And if you don't run this like a business, we're gonna be out of business, and the state's gonna be right back here, and we're gonna be saying, well, did nobody tell them to spend all that money? A lot of people was hiding when the state was here, when we were standing out here having press conferences. When the state came and kicked the mayor out of his office, we were standing here. I didn't see a whole lot of these faces. We were sitting right here. We were the first one to boycott the state. So I know what it means to tell people to go get the money, go find the money, no matter if you got the money or not. But that ain't the case. If the finance director says that we're nervous about some of these spending, then you come to your board of directors in a business, and your board of directors say, hey, why don't we just slow down for a minute till we really see where we at? But to keep going, you'll be bankrupt. So I mean, if we want to bring it back, and people think they got the will and power, the thing is, when the ship falls, just make sure you're man enough to stand up and woman enough to stand up and say, I sank the ship.
I have one last comment in regards to this particular issue, because people are making comments. This is not a personal issue, and it has nothing to do with Mr. Mitchell per se, but the role itself. At this point in government, like I said on Monday night, we are not allowing anybody to run rush out of this commission again. So we have to put some internal controls in place. It's not personal. So please stop acting like it's personal. It has to do with business. The city is a business. We are in charge of running a business. So we need to run it like a business. And so we need to put some internal controls in place. We called a special meeting the week before last to approve a budget that wasn't approved on a Monday night, on a Wednesday, so that people could get paid or get their checks or whatever. So we've done that kind of thing in the past. So if it's not $1,000, it's $2,000, but we need to put those controls in place. And somebody asked a question about the retreat. How much is that going to cost? Because we have not seen anything, have not even heard anything about the cost of that. How much is that? If it's over $5,000 or $10,000, it's an absolute no. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an absolute no.
Get to go to
I need an answer to both of those tonight.
Honorable Mayor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I spoke with Rhonda Hildenbrand, who is the Plant Moran designee for the city of Benton Harbor in the finance department. And she expressed serious concern.
Where is she?
Do I have the floor?
Yes.
Thank you. She expressed to me face to face and over the telephone serious concern as it relates to unbudgeted expenditures. Now, each department has a budget. The city manager's office has a budget. The city clerk, each department, and I'm being redundant for a reason. But when you look at the overall budget, it was very lean in the excess of 16,000 over or in the black. So in each department, there was not a lot of money left over. So case in point, the city clerk has budgeted for a part-time person, correct? So that means that she does not have a budget to hire somebody full-time with benefits, fringes, etc. Okay. So the city manager has a certain leeway for maybe miscellaneous expenses, etc. But we don't have money in each budget at the police department in order to have excess spending. So I just feel like for some of the items that I have seen come before the council, and I would like to know what budget did they come out of. So I would want to know what budget did the check to Emma Kennard, what budget did that come out of?
Answer that, sir.
We'll give you all of that in whatever you want.
I'm gonna finish. So the check that was cut to the Benton Spirit for promotion or advertising, what budget did that come out of? What budget is the retreat coming out of?
Can we get Miss Hildebrand in here? Please.
I'm not chairing this meeting. I'm actually speaking to the chair.
Mayor got the floor right now.
So I would like to know, and we are actually in our audit right now, which she shared with me that she would like to see us at least finish the audit to see where the city is financially. And even if we put something in place until that is completed. I mean, I supported 3,500 for the city manager to have that leeway. My colleague, Commissioner Henry, I agree. The former manager asked for 5,000. During the emergency manager time, it was 10,000. But we settled on 3,500. But the city charter does say 1,000. That's what the city charter says. So, I just, I would like to know those things, and unless it's just, absolutely necessary, that we put some type of $400 for some flowers to sit out here in the lobby.
Water plants.
Pardon me. And I'm for beautifying and I'm for building. But let's look at where we're at and then, move forward.
All right. One more question, Mr. Henry. Commissioner Henry.
Okay, so the mayor went over the scenario and how we got to 35.
Right.
And yes, the charter does say 1,000, but the charter is almost 100 years old. We didn't have the budget that we had when the charter was made. So I like the language of this discussion. Freeze all non-essential spending and unbudgeted money without approval. And leaving it at 35. That stops everything. It puts a hold on everything that is non-essential or unbudgeted. But to go back to that the ordinance that didn't pass before at 1,000, it's not gonna work for us. It's really not gonna work for us. But I love this language. Somebody thought about it. They could answer the question about it. It sounds feasible to me. But the $1,000 is just not workable. And I would like to see a freeze. That I need to see. So, but let's not hang the city up with 1,000.
More than anything, through the chair, I wish that we could deal with understanding where we came from quickly and briefly and stick to and stay on solutions instead of long drawn out stuff that really just doesn't even matter. I just explained that email of 3,500. What scared me listening to the mayor, we just entered into a new fiscal year. There's 8 months left. And we're where, you say Ms. Hildebrand says, can we please get our finance director up here at the very next meeting so that she can tell each and every last one of us that are just as privy to the same information. Because I get so sick of hearing conflicting stuff. I'd like to hear things with thine own ear. Thank you. If we can move forward, that would be wonderful, because I like to respect some people's time that's been here all day.
Mayor.
Yes, sir. So the freeze on hiring, is that?
Point of order, not even for discussion.
Is that a part of this? I see it.
Is it non-essential?
Freeze on non-essential spending.
Is employment a non-essential right now?
No.
Well, let me say this. 2 things happened to us this year.
An emergency trying
The Parks Conservative shut down, and we have control over 13 parks that we weren't expecting to have control over.
Well,
and the second thing is the cemetery. They moved out and
Point of order.
Hey, too many talking in here, point of order.
Mayor got the floor.
So, non-essential, so in the case where the city clerk has it budgeted for a part-time person, then that would be considered budgeted.
Get rid of city manager. There we go. Say what you mean.
So, and I'm just, so for instance, in the case of, with the Benton Spirit, which when I served as the Safe and Supportive School Director, I worked directly with the Benton Spirit, where the grant funded the Young Journalist Program, where we had students who worked with the Benton Spirit, They wrote the articles, they took the pictures, they were the editors, and we worked with that company. So I support the Benton spirit. However, one of the things that I brought up was the fact that in that context, we couldn't pay her until the work was done. So there were articles, we had scheduled 12 articles out of the year, or 9 articles for the paper, full spread. But we didn't pay her until the article was completed, the work was done. But in this case, the money was advanced. And she was paid before the work has been completed. So that's where the pro tem was stating advancing money. We have, that should stop before commission approval. Now, is that covered in the?
Non-essential, non-budgeted.
Well, if it's budgeted, but it hasn't been approved.
Is it essential? So that's what we did.
Well, who would determine what's essential? Because that was, I maybe considered it essential that we advance that amount of money for work that has not been done for promotion. This city council, we don't get paid unless we come to the meeting and present for as a member, present. Then we can get paid. But we can't be advanced any money for a meeting in December or January. We have to be present at the meeting first. So that's all. I'm just, those kind of decisions, that concerns me.
Mr. Chair. The mayor asked if that's essential. I'm going to ask you, are we going to continue to be the city that we are, or are we going to go to be the city we want to be?
Want to be?
Now, let me tell you why I say that. There have been several commissioners asking for help in getting the neighborhoods together, getting the neighborhoods informed. Getting the neighborhoods informed is not essential.
But you can't pay her before she does the work. That's the principle.
She's been doing it for
So
years.
this whole
That's the principle.
So this whole thing is about paying for work to
Services that's performed.
Why y'all screaming?
That's the law.
No, it's not.
It is. It's like ghost payroll. You can't pay somebody that has not done the work.
Mr. Mayor, you and I are not going to get into a shouting match.
There you go.
You and I are not going to get into a shouting match. I promise, and I will continue to remain professional when I'm talking to you both.
Well, be professional
Control
and
your
spend
meeting.
the money.
Control your meeting.
And I'm in this office 12 hours at least a day. And anybody can come in and we can sit down and talk like gentlemen and work this thing out. But what's going on right now, can't do that.
Can I ask
Oh, this is
you?
the last question. We got another meeting now.
All right, yeah, that's my meeting. All right,
Yeah, last meeting.
I'll bring it back next week.
There you go.
The statement becomes, we have YouTube, but ever since that check has been released, I have not seen one reporter at one meeting from that paper.
It wouldn't.
Do I have the floor, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. If we would stop the fast track of spending, we wouldn't have had the full room the other day with the media here. I didn't call not one newspaper. If we don't do something, and the thing that concerns me was not the fact of even what even happened, but the fact that we didn't see a problem in what happened. and our beloved city manager, who I've had a conversation with, and I do respect him. But when I sing your brothers, I do respect him. It's not a problem of respect, it's a problem of business. When he so stated at the end of the meeting that he didn't see nothing wrong with what happened. This is a 9-member board. People voted for the mayor, they voted for Commissioner Singleton, they voted for Commissioner Isom. There's people who support all of us and want to see the city go somewhere. But we cannot have penthouse luxuries with project tax roll. And that is the issue at hand. If we don't agree on $1,000, what amount can we agree? Commissioner Henderson had an excellent statement. Because if you're going to pay for rooms and all this other kind of stuff in a bus and putting us up at Gold Lake, how much is that gonna cost? But what if we don't show up? The city still is gonna hold the bag, like we just was. So, I mean, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna continue the same behavior? And because we got a few votes, act like we doing something big? You're really not. You're hurting the people who really coming out. Because there's senior citizens who are trying to say, can I pay my taxes or can I buy my medicine? These are the people on the tax roll every year because our taxes are the highest in the region. We the highest in the region for taxes. Then we shoot them with an income tax.
Okay, but can we stay on?
So my statement says this.
He's comfortable.
Commissioner, if we can, if they don't like the 1,000, what amount?
35.
Because honestly, tonight, they should be ashamed of themselves. Because this man is a temp. We haven't even hired him yet. So why don't we get down to business and hire him?
Send that resolution.
If that's the real issue, who gonna give a temporary employee free reign to the city and say, go ahead? Let's hire him then.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
See, I've been saying
What's the cost of the retreat? Can we get that answer
May I be heard?
He's gonna get that information out.
We'll get that
at a later time?
See,
After
through the chair, I'd like to address one other thing before you close out, sir. Because I think it's no more than fair that this city and its citizens understand that when you talk about respect of a person, that's what this man has an office for. That's why the ex-city manager and the rest of them. We don't have to sit out here and showboat like we know everything and talk to people in a condescending, childish manner instead of putting forth resolve in a small setting. All the loudness, all the noise, it doesn't take all that. This can be solved in a much calmer way.
One last thing.
And I wanna finish by saying that
We got another meeting.
I actually like the fact that Ms. Kennard has chosen to beautify the place. And I guess when I didn't understand some of the things that came before us that we had to vote on when it came to landscaping and grass. If cutting the grass and leaving the messes that I've saw throughout this community in our streets and on our sidewalk is the landscaping portion, then somebody else needs to be collecting some more money back from somebody else. Because that's what you call landscaping. And when you know something about it and how things grow seasonally in a 4-seasonal state that you don't have to replace every year or every season, then you have a greater appreciation. And not only that, I think the lovely flowers out there that she has freely taught a whole lot of children, including the mayors, for the past 20 years throughout this community, how to grow things, how to love and appreciate healthy food. I think that it was nice that she chose to beautify the community. But I do agree with the fact that we need to discuss these things going forward for future reference and just shut the rest of this bull crap down.
Ms. Singleton, go ahead.
I have one recommendation, can we agree on $2,500 assessment or is not, somebody said 35, $2,500?
What's the cost of the other retreat?
Story now, the other ones.
What's the ballpark?
Try to finish up.
So that's 2 nights, 3 days. Coach
When
bus.
was it? It's a
How much is
draft,
that?
it's nothing in place, it's a draft.
No, that was not.
But it still has to be a budget for it. And what budget is it coming out of?
That don't mean y'all get everything.
How much is it? Y'all have a ball, how much is it?
The residents should know that. If we gonna talk about going on a retreat to Gull Lake, staying the night, taking a charter bus, the people need to know
How much?
how much is that?
He already said he's gonna give us that
He
information,
has that information.
so
You know.
we don't have it right now, but he said he would give it to you.
How can you plan it if you don't
No,
have
no,
it?
you don't know it, that's bull.
You had to get some kind of.
You don't build a house without counting the costs.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Don't adjourn it, we need.
We got stuff on that.
I
We got guests, we got
I
guests.
need to know what we decided to do with this last one. Don't shut the meeting down and I don't know what you did.
Calm down, relax, we have a heart attack or something.
Oh, look, the heart attack, that ain't what I'm gonna have. I need to know what you decided, because it seems like to me, Chair, you making the decision.
I'm making a decision.
So I need to know what your committee decided to do about this last discussion on freezing or of all non-essential spending.
You said
in our budget.
$1,000, you gonna stick to that?
Beg your pardon?
You said $1,000.
That's what you're gonna put back on the agenda?
Meeting
Is
adjourned.
that what you agree? You got a place here, you a citizen.
This
Is
is
that
not a
what you
voting
agree?
body.
You move it forward.
What about you? You agree to that too?
You moving it forward?
They voting for?
Move it
They function,
Meeting
okay?
adjourned.
That's all we need to do, it's called a functioning body.
Don't start with me.
Put a key back in my, scared to talk.